very good day to you all. Thank you for joining us today on another episode of Family Affairs Monday. We are the College of Marriage, Parenting and Family Affairs, and our desire is to enable people to find their relationships, bringing meaning to them, and that they may be able to enjoy those relationships. Today, we are continuing with our series on affairs in marriage. So this is a series which started last week, and this week we are looking at part 2, which is all about the why of the affair. So last week we looked at what an affair is and the causes of the affair. And I will just briefly indicate what we discussed last week. We mentioned that an affair is a sexual romantic relationship or a passionate attachment between two people without the attached person's significant other knowing. So you are having a romantic or a sexual relationship without your significant other person knowing. And in general, affairs are a search for fulfillment outside the marriage by improper association with someone or something in an effort to escape from reality of responsibility and commitment. So affairs in general, the responsibility, the commitment is not as much as you will find in a marriage. We also mentioned that there are a number of reasons why affairs take place. We looked at 10 reasons last week. We mentioned that there could be distance between the couples. For example, couples staying in different locations. Alcohol intake is another one, which can affect judgment of the person who then gets involved in an affair. Another reason is lack of boundaries. We talked about lust. We also spoke about lack of self-control. Then there is friction and conflicts with lack of skills to resolve these issues. We also mentioned about sexual problems in marriage. Then there is the aspect of revenge, cheating, followed by the thrill of the cheating itself, and then finally the choice to be unfaithful, which people make. So that was our part 1 last week. This week I want us to focus on dealing with affairs, and we will look at the why of the affair. In fact, when it comes to dealing with any affair, my observations as I've worked with many people is that there are actually 4 things that people need to do. You need to look at the why of the infidelity, then you look at the how of the infidelity. You also need to consider the pain of the infidelity before finally looking at the change factors, if people are to move forward. So 4 things that one needs to look at. So today we'll look at the first one, which is issues to do with the why of the infidelity. So the issue is this: when an affair has occurred, if the infidelity issues are to be handled properly, a couple needs to deal with the why of the infidelity. I've noticed that if this question is not addressed, healing is difficult to attain because both the infidel and the one cheated need to wrestle, and they will actually be wrestling with this why question. And both the infidel and the cheated have different reasons in addressing the why question. It's what I've discovered. So if we are to look at the reasons why the cheated, asks this why question. So we begin with the cheated and the why question. What I've observed is this. This is a question that bothers the cheated when the affair is discovered. It is a question which can linger on their minds for a long period of time, and sometimes it is a question that may not be verbalized, but what I've observed is that they keep asking this question over and over again in their minds. And so it's a question that must be asked and answered. So the cheated and the why question, I will look at 4 things that are important to take note of as people ask the why question. The first one is this: the why question helps the cheated to make sense of the cheating. So the why question is an attempt to make sense of the cheating for the cheated. In general, they do not understand why someone would cheat on them. Imagine this is someone who they had given their heart to. They have probably spent 10 years, 15 years with them in marriage, and all of a sudden they discover that this person has cheated on them. They do not understand why someone would go on to do something that is so painful and disrespectful to them. So this why question will help the cheated to try to make sense of the cheating. That's the first thing. The second thing that I've observed is this: so many questions are asked by the cheated in an attempt to answer this why question. For example, so why did he cheat on me? What did I do wrong for me to be cheated on? Is there anything I could have done differently in relating with my spouse? Am I not attractive anymore? Was I not good in bed? And the questions will come fast and furious to the cheated. And so answering this question why, you will notice that you will then answer many other questions which somebody will be asking, but eventually all having to just do with the why question: why was I cheated? So that's the second thing for us to take note of. The third thing is that the one thing that I've observed in working with quite a number of people is that the reality is this: unfortunately, there are no answers to the why question that are satisfactory. There are no answers which will be satisfactory. I've worked with quite a lot of people, and many people who have cheated have given a lot of reasons to their spouses. But one of the observations that I made is that hear this: no answer will satisfy the cheated. So whatever answer that is given, it does not take away the sting of being cheated on. And the cheated must be assisted. When everything has been said and done, the cheated must be assisted to deal with their pain and the disappointment which they have over the affair. So that's the third thing here, that in reality there is no answer to the why question which will satisfy the cheated. The fourth and last thing in terms of the cheated and the why question is this: the reason for dealing with the why question is something that is important for us to take note of. So what is the reason? If there is no answer that will be satisfactory, so what is the reason for dealing with the why question? So it's the fourth thing that is important for us to talk about here. So the issue is this: asking the question, the why question, helps the cheated in the attempt to find answers. That's what it does. It just helps the cheater to find answers to the questions they have. It helps in satisfying their curiosity on what could be wrong. So they will just be curious. Sometimes is it the other person is more beautiful or more handsome? Is he a provider? So they'll be having a lot of curious moments in their lives. So it helps. And finally, it also may assist in attempting to see that the infidelity is not repeated. So in general, they will be trying to find a way of saying, hey, how can this infidelity not be repeated? So the reason for dealing with the why question is also very important as we talk about the cheated and the why question. So 4 things there when it comes up to the cheated and the why question. Then if we move over to the infidel and the why question, again, there are 4 things which we may need to take a look at. Number 1 is this: it helps the infidel process the reasons behind their cheating. This is very important. So the why question is an attempt to make sense of the cheating on behalf of the infidel. It is about looking at the causes, to enable one to work on these. And the infidel, when everything has been said and done, must be assisted to look at the 10 reasons that I indicated earlier on about infidelity, and then to reflect on these things, because that will actually help in terms of ensuring that we will not have future infidelity when we do that. So this is something that is very important for us to take note of. The second thing that is important in terms of the infidel and the why question is that the process must be deliberate and thorough of asking the why question with the infidel. And this is something that is very important for us to be able to do. The process must be thorough and must be deliberate. So the infidel must be assisted to, look at why cheat. What could he have done differently? And if there were problems in the affair, for example, could there have been ways of handling the cheating? Could there have been alternative ways of handling the problems, an alternative to the cheating? And it's something that is important, a deliberate process of actually looking at these things, so that the infidel can try to put a finger on why their behavior is like that. The third thing that is important here, friends, is for the infidel to realize that the why question will help the infidel see that no answer is actually satisfactory, because no answer will satisfy the cheated. It's a fact, and the infidel will have to take note of that, because cheating boils down to the choice the infidel would have made. In the end, we need to help the infidel see that cheating boils down to the choice which they would have made. So we help them see that there are always alternatives that do not involve cheating, and that is actually a fact of life, that there is actually an alternative to whatever problems people have. So cheating is actually a choice, but a choice that can be painful to the cheated. And the fourth reason why we talk about the infidel and the why question is that we need to look at the reason, in the end, when everything has been said and done, reason for dealing with the why question when we're looking or discussing with the infidel. So what is the reason? So asking the why question for the one who is an infidel, guess what? The why question helps the infidel in the attempt to deal with causes of infidelity. It may assist in attempting to see that the infidelity is not repeated, and finally it will also make the infidel realize that there is a choice that helps them to finally make this decision either to stop or not, so that they have no excuse in the future. And this is something that is very important. Friends, I just want to say this to us: the why question must be addressed, and it can be addressed by both the cheated and the infidel. Next week we will look at an issue to do with the how of the infidelity, as we attempt to help people deal with infidelity. Thank you for listening. May God bless you. See you next week, and bye-bye.